listen to a song like this, and a part of me wants to just let it all go and swing on a tree on a rope. I don't mean around my neck. Welcome back to the Savage Nation. You know, yesterday after the show was over, I went out on a little boat. I have a 22-foot boat, which I really love. It's a little boat. I have a big boat, I have a little boat. I go on that little boat with my dog, Teddy. And it was a very hot day, and you'd want to go, like a heat wave came out of nowhere after the rain, the heat. So I go out, end of the show, near the sunset time, but it was still really hot. And I just putted around 5-6 knots over to a little cove I know. And I cut the engine, and I drifted with the dog sitting next to me. And I leaned back on the back of the boat, under the canopy, and I looked at some houses, you know, over there in the cove. And I saw children, maybe 9, 10 years old, swinging on a long rope, on a very large oak tree. And all I could see were the children, the rope going back and forth and back and forth, and I heard the laughter of children. And my mind drifted back to my own childhood, to my own life when things were simpler. And I started to say to myself, what the hell am I knocking my head against the wall for? We got an unqualified, corrupt bum that they put into the White House. The most evil people on earth are wrecking the country, stealing our freedoms, robbing our tax base, debasing every institution that we believe in. What am I killing myself for? I was 69 years old yesterday. I've worked hard all my life. I've worked since I'm 5 years old. I could have retired a while ago, and I keep going. Why? What am I doing it for? My ego? What I want you to say I'm a great guy? You want me to buy my next book or listen to my next show? What am I doing this for, I ask myself. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I'm doing it because I don't know how to stop. I'll be honest with you. I had to retrain myself at age 40 to work 7 days a week because otherwise I would have fallen off the edge of the earth. Things had gotten bad, and there was no way to do it halfway. Either you do it 100% or you don't do it at all. Like everything else on earth. Either you go into it 100% or you don't do it at all because you're not going to succeed. That's number one. So now that I've succeeded in a way beyond anything I've ever dreamed of, not beyond my wildest dreams, but beyond in many ways, why am I continuing to do it? Because there's no stopping it, number one. It's a momentum of my life. But number two, and you got to believe me, it's because I'm an immigrant son. I believe that this is a great country. I still believe it can be saved. And in a way, I'm sending out like life preservers to a lot of people who I know don't know which way to turn. They know we have a shill in the White House that makes them sick. Every time the man speaks, they want to climb up a wall. I never saw anything like this. It was bad enough under the dyslexic Bush. We had 8 years of a mangled. I think he was on gibberish. He gave a speech. People were crawling up a wall. So all of a sudden, the controllers figured, okay, we'll get somebody. Let's figure this out. He'll be part white, part black. He'll be super literate. He'll have a deep voice. He'll never make a mistake with his voice. Bingo, there it is. Now they're in the White House. They're in. It's like the 1918 World Series. No one could believe they could fix it. They fixed the presidency. They say, here we are. The First Lady lectures us on healthy foods and plants a garden. And then I look up the dinner. You say, well, what are you focusing on the trivia for? Because sometimes you get devils in the details. Yesterday, Michelle Obama gave a speech about planting zucchini and broccoli and this and that. I got the menu from the dinner they put on in Harlem the other day, Obama and First Lady Michelle. And here's what they ate. Cornbread with honey butter. The main course, braised short ribs. Honey glazed chokes. Dessert is not carrots. Chocolate cake with rhubarb compote. Buttermilk sherbet. Sweet potato donuts with cinnamon and brown sugar. If I were to design a diet to give people a heart attack, it couldn't be a better design than this. So you say, well, why are you reading a menu like this? Because it's everywhere you turn, it's nothing but BS. How do you take that? You gag on it. So is any wonder I started to drift off from the back of my boat and just watch the children back and forth. They were about, I don't know, maybe half a mile. I couldn't make out the children's faces. They were about, I don't know, maybe half a mile. I couldn't make out the children's faces. It had become a blur of just swinging on a rope, on a big oak tree on a hot afternoon. The sun had gone down behind them, the mountain, and the kids were swinging, and I was sitting on the back of the boat. I wasn't even drinking anything, honestly. You're sitting with the little dog and watching the kids swing, and all I was thinking was, this has to come to an end. I'm going to stop. I'm just going to walk off the set. I'm going to say goodnight one day, and that's going to be it, because I'm not going to do this. It comes a point where you know it's hopeless. The corruption is so overwhelming in America right now. And the Republican Party is so impotent. They're so deballed. There's no other word for the John Boehner Republicans. Deballed. 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 There's no other words for it. I saw with the crying. I saw with the pink ties. I knew it was coming. I warned you about it. I know personally that John Boehner is supposedly a very nice man from a fine family who's very conservative, but he doesn't have the horsepower for the job. No fire in the belly means no fire on the floor of Congress. Means that women like Feinstein will roll him over every day. It means yentas like Boxing will roll him around like he's a pack of camels. They'll move him around like he's a cigarette and stub it out on the floor. Where are the men who are going to save this country? Where are the women with fire? We have them. You got Palin, you got Bachmann, you got some of the women, and the vermin in the media who hate women are ripping them to shreds. The anti-women vermin in the media are ripping them to shreds. The women haters in the media, let me say it until you finally get it through your stupid heads, you liberals. The women haters in the media are ripping the real patriotic women to shreds. You know who they like? The communist harridans like Boxer, Feinstein, Mikulski, the entire pack of corrupt vermin. That's who they support. I say to myself in the back of my head as I watch the children swinging a mile away from the back of my boat, that one day this must come to an end. And one day this shall come to an end. One way or the other, it shall come to an end. Only I hope it shall not be this day. I'll be right back to take your calls right here on the Savage Nation for more news, views, and reviews.
Savage.